welcome to another tutorial for the Minecraft Create mod. This is the third of a three-part series. In the first we looked at putting together all of the contraption-y bits and pieces that you can see behind me. In the second one we looked at all of the aesthetic sides, and we'll pick it up now and putting it all together. Okay, so with our windmill all built up, next we need to build up the farm. So we're going to come to this little wall just here and we're going to find the middle block, which is just this one, and then we're going to follow that until we're into the very centre of our farm, which should line up nicely with the portable storage interface. From there, place down our mechanical bearing, and from that we will just build our farm off the side of it, exactly the same as we did in the last episode. And so now we need to get power from our windmill down into this room underneath so that we can start getting all the mills set up. For that, we're just going to have to go back inside the windmill tower itself. We'll just bob in here. And then if we come up the top, so we know the windmill is through here somewhere. That's the top part of our roof, so hopefully it should be just through there. Yep, there he is. So we can pop a shaft on the end of that, and then a vertical gearbox. And then we're just going to run power straight down. So we're just going to add shafts onto the bottom of this gearbox. When you get down to here, punch through the wall, that goes down into the room just below. And then if we just run round, we're probably going to drop through the floor. But if we just pop in here, we should find, yeah, there's that little shaft coming through. We should be able to just bring power right down. Don't worry about adding shaft after shaft after shaft after shaft. It doesn't actually do anything to decrease the amount of power that the windmill produces. We're just going to transfer it a further distance. So we know that this is where rotational power is going to be coming in from now on. We can run around the other side and we'll go and switch that windmill on, just so that we can see how it's going to be rotating. So we just pop down here, have nothing in our hand, and then right click on there, it's going to start to turn. There he goes. Right, so we pop back in here, our shaft should be turning. Yes, it is. Right, so from here, we can just pop over to this little wall and we'll punch out this little bit. That is the back of our portable storage interface. So that's where everything is going to be coming in order to power the mills we're going to set up here now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do on the back of this portable storage interface is pop an andesite funnel and a shaft underneath that so that it's got something it can fall onto. Then we're coming off to the side and we're going to skip a block, place down a shaft, skip 5 blocks, and place down 2 shafts just like so, and then link them up with belts as you see. Then hopping on here, we can pop a little chest just on the end. Andesite funnel going into that one, 2 brass funnels coming out the other side. Skip 1 block, place your mill down just on that far side over there. Andesite funnel going into that one, coming out from the other side as well. I'll just place a couple of blocks down there because I like to see chests when they're not floating up in the air. So pop that one down next to it. Then into that we'll have another couple of andesite funnels. So there is the first section of our mill, if you remember it from the last episode. So what we're doing is we've got our wheat and seeds coming in. We're going to split them off to go into the mill and then into this chest. But we've got a problem. Last time we had everything going straight out the back, but now we've got a wall. Luckily though, these chests are very good and they can quite happily have a funnel on the side that works just as well. Although of course we can't actually use an andesite funnel this time round, we're going to have to use a brass one because we're going to need to filter out the seeds. From there we need to build up a little staircase just at the back. Pop a shaft down right underneath the funnel, up to the top there, so we're creating a nice 45-degree angle. Pop a couple of belts between those, and then we need to set up our little hopper system just at the bottom. So I'll just have a block that I can use to place things on. Grab myself a composter. It's going to sit right on there. Then we need to have an andesite funnel going into our composter. Then we're going to need to punch that one out, grab a chest, and then have a hopper going into that one. And there we go, that is everything set up now in order to mill our wheat down into flour. We have got this rather nice little cubby hole just here, which we'll also leave. And the last thing we need to do though is we need to get everything powered up because nothing's moving at the moment. Here's our lovely little shaft coming down. That is going to provide all the power that we need. And by far the easiest way we're going to be able to do this is to simply stick a vertical gearbox on the end of it, pop a shaft into the belt where it's going to be going in, and then connect the two up. And there we go. Everything is now moving. Everything is going to do its job. We need to get you powered up at the back. So we can hop over here and we're going to punch out a couple of these blocks. In fact, I'm going to go right the way through. We can put a shaft just there. We're going to need a vertical gearbox, and then we're going to need a little cog. There's our little cog, and we've already got the vertical gearbox, little cog off the side, and then we can rebuild the wall. We've got this little bit which is sticking out, which is a little bit of a shame. That's fine. Luckily, good old terraforming hides a multitude of sins. There, it never happened. Okay, so back inside now. We need to get this side powered up, and you might think, there's a nice little gap just here. We could quite easily get that one set up to take it the right way. Unfortunately, as soon as you put a gearbox in that space, it goes the wrong way. It's trying to take our seeds out of our composter and stick them back in the chest, which is definitely not what we wanted. So we'll take that one away, and instead we're going to set it up from around the back. And once you get around the back, we can just remove a couple of these little blocks, just so that we can see a little bit better what is going on. We can see that there's another end of belt just there. That's quite close to this one. We could probably use that to power this. Let's pop a shaft there. We can then break that belt just by left-clicking on it, and it will snap. We can run back round the other side. Everything has stopped, of course, because it's now no longer being powered, but we should be able to hook this belt back up again across all of these shafts this time. But we've now noticed this one has stopped moving. That's because we now don't have anywhere where there are two shafts side by side running right between both belts. So all you need to do is spot one of the shafts that isn't moving next to a belt that is, and just stick another little shaft in there. There we go. Now everything is turning again, and we can run back round the side. This time, if we pop down a gearbox, it should work. Yay! There we go, although that is definitely not going to get composted. So you might be looking at this though and then thinking, well, that's all very well and good, but my goodness, this is incredibly ugly where it's coming down there. And you would be right. It would be better if it snaked along the ceiling, really. So what we can do is we can break it. And this little cog here that operates the mill is also a cogwheel in its own right. What we can do is we can pop a little cog just there next to it, and then we'll hook that up to that instead. What we can do is we can take him up, bring this one over. If we pop a little vertical gearbox on the bottom, just run that out. Then we need to hook this one onto this one here. Now obviously these are a fair old distance apart, and there's one or two ways that we can do this. By far the easiest though is to just use good old gearboxes. What we'll do though is we pop a little vertical gearbox onto there. We can see that this is then going there, and now when I pop a little cog on the end, these two are going to line up quite nicely, so I can put a little cog on there too. There we go. Now everything is moving, and we've got a bit more floor space back for us. Next, we're going to set up our filters. So we'll just go and grab one out, and we'll set this first one to wheat seeds. Then just place that on this nearest brass funnel to us so that those seeds are going to be bypassing the mill at the back. And we're going to pop one on there as well, just so that they go off and get composted. And the next filter we will set up for wheat instead. And we'll pop that on that furthest funnel just over there. There we go though, there is a little bit of decoration done. We've put a bit of a floor down. I've tried to just put some bits and pieces of darker wood where people are most likely to walk and where it's going to get scuffed, that sort of thing. We've got some storage for our windmill keeper. If he needs to fix anything up, he's got a spare grindstone. And we've put a little false wall at the back there, just so that this part of the contraption has something to sit against, which looks a little bit more realistic. And I could use this for some storage, I suppose. For now though, it is time to get this last little bit done. This little farm here needs to actually be moving and harvesting wheat for us. So we are going to be able to use our windmill to do that. But I don't really want to do anything to this room now that I've got it all decorated up. So instead we're going to use that vertical gearbox we know we've got hidden down there. That is already in quite a conveniently low place to be able to get power underneath this little farm, remembering that it needs to come into this shaft just here. So what we'll do is we'll just run around to our little sneaky bit of hiding that we did, and I'm going to clear out some space here just so that I can see this and the bottom of that farm. Okay, so we've got a little bit of space cleared out and we've got some nice torch spam going on so that nothing's going to spawn down here. That is where the farm is, and then over here this is where our vertical gearbox is. So we're going to bring these two down so that they actually meet up with each other. Easiest way to do that, I'm going to bring you down just a little bit further. Vertical gearbox, and then we'll just shaft our way all the way up to the end. Again, this one's going to have to come down one. Remember, you can't touch any of this farmland that's up here. That's all going to have wheat growing on it. So we'll bring it down until these two are roughly in line with each other. Then we will just link them up. So pop a little vertical gearbox on there, and then a horizontal one, and now everything is turning. Let's have a little look and see how that's going. Oh. Okay, so it's turning. That's always a good thing. It's going way too fast, and it's going backwards. Those aren't such good things. So first of all, we'll fix the fact that it's going backwards. Nice and easy. Let's have another little gearbox in there. That'll just switch things around. So we should be going forwards now. We are. That's way too fast. Way too fast. I think it looks nauseating when they go around that quickly, especially when it's going under farmland. I always imagine it's just going to shred the crops. Anyway, let's slow it down a little bit. Here you do have two options. So you could go with the lovely rotary speed controller, in which you can decide exactly how fast you want it to go, so long as you've got a wrench. And then you can say, I want to go really fast. Let's go 256. The thing is, I don't really care how fast this farm goes, as long as it's going much slower than it is. So that is absolute overkill for this sort of project. Instead, we could just use good old cogwheels. They're cheap and cheerful, and they'll do the job just fine. So what we're going to do, because we need to slow this down, we're going to put a small cogwheel onto our shaft. We'll break this down so that it's not interfering with anything. Off of that, we will have a large cogwheel. So that's already going at half the speed of the small one. We'll pop a little shaft just on the end of that one. A small cogwheel and go back to a large one on the top. So this is now going very much slower, as you can see. And then we'll just link them up and go from there. From there, we'll just sort of bounce our way back out again. And then we'll go and see what this is doing. There we go, that looks like a far more sensible speed and more like it's doing a job rather than just whizzing around as fast as it can and cutting its way through all of the wheat as it goes. So we'll just get this little field planted up and then we will be good to go. There we go, everything seems to be in order. We seem to be going at a sensible pace compared to our windmill. Let's see him as he comes round. I've already been in to make sure that some flour is actually coming through. Let's just double check. Here we go. A random spruce trapdoor, why not? These seeds can go in, and they will go, of course, straight up into our composter. And there we go though, everything appears to be working very nicely. We are getting flour from our farm, and that is the most important thing of all, especially when you're building a windmill. Anywho though, I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial where we have built everything up from scratch, from all the aesthetics and all the mechanics to build an actual functioning farm. Happy Minecrafting everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye!